All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all are doing well, John. Okay. It's been a good weekend. Nice to be back. Just letting a few people flow in and then we'll get going. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to anybody in the world, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well. We're gonna get going. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this thing pulled up. Oh my gosh, here we go. Technical difficulties early in the morning. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education and informational purposes only without any expression, implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please read this. Pause the stream. Shaky, good morning. All right, starting out, as always, let's go on over here. So it's Monday. There is no news on the calendar right now for today. So I need to go into this with very low expectations. I'm going to go into it, of course, looking for setups and looking for the 3-day opportunities, but more than likely just looking for a session scalp. Still looking for signals and things like that, but because the no news Monday and a lot of these things have already made their moves. If you look at things like oil and most of the indexes and things like that, they've already kind of either pulled back really far or they've already started their dump back down. So we'll look at a few things. I'm going to go back to a 15-minute chart here, and on the NASDAQ, started this move back up from last Tuesday, breakout day one on Wednesday. We had the second days of longs triggered into the market, and then a breakout on Friday. This is breakout day one. Really the third day of longs triggered into the market on Friday, but now coming into today for sure, we've got all of these people being triggered in. We've got a gap up over the weekend. And it seems like the market's either pulling back for gap fill or because we now have 3 days of longs triggered into the market, I should be looking for a lower low to get put in place. All right, so we've been making higher highs and higher lows. On the day itself today, have we broke down and started making lower lows and lower highs? And then is it tradable? Can I actually execute something based off of that? Maybe. Okay, it's day 3 days of longs in the market. We also have the potential lower low anchor point down over here from last Tuesday. So from that low, actually, let me go skip these ads for you all. Paulie, good morning. So from this low, they made this low, they went back to the high. One thing that you can look at whenever you get this, so this is the anchor point low, right? The lower low. And they've gone back to the high in a way that I would say, okay, well, is this high going to fail? Right? Because remember, markets are fractal. Everything happening on a lower time frame is happening on a higher time frame. And with these cycles, or with structure in general, whenever they make a new extreme and they go back to the other side for the retest, if it fails, then we could be looking at, okay, lower low, higher high that fails in an exhausted market that's been going up. Not to overcomplicate this, it's just, how the market tends to move around. So I'm trying to build, thought process of what I would like to see. But I do have those 3 days of longs triggered into the market. So what do I really need to see based off of that, just to keep it as simple as possible? Just based off of that, I've got the 3 days of longs. It's an up-moving market. I'm just going to look for a lower low to get put in place. And on the day today, it is currently making lower lows and lower highs. So let's go down to a 5. And we've gone up here. We've made higher highs. Blah, blah, blah. And then we broke down and started making lower lows, I think probably either gap time or in London. And then from this, we've been making lower lows and lower highs. And I can kind of just tell that we've pulled back over here. And we've made another lower low. All right, so I would need to see a pullback. Unfortunately, this is kind of perfect right here, 9 o'clock. This is kind of what you would want to see, or what I would want to see. And the reason being is because they've came down, making lower lows and lower highs. They've popped back up and consolidated just above previous day's high, which is a really good magnet, right? So if this would have happened at 9:30, this was kind of the trade. But we'll see. Is the gap fill too obvious, or am I paranoid? It's not really. I wouldn't even really focus necessarily shaking on the gap fill. Very low percentage of gaps even get filled in the same day. So probability wise, using that as a reason, I don't really like to do that. Yeah, that's just me. All right, let's go on to US 30. Same thing as NASDAQ for the most part. Slightly different over the past few days. So we had Tuesday. They triggered the low, so this is the starting point for the move up. We got breakout day 1 on Wednesday, similar to the NASDAQ, except on Thursday, now we have an inside day. Triggered the low, triggered the high, and now we're kind of just floating back down under the previous day's high. So this gap has already been filled compared to the NASDAQ where it is not. All right, on the day, still making lower lows and lower highs. Kind of hard to tell where your levels are going to be just because they've been dragging price down lower instead of making nice little swings. Got your end-of-day consolidation from yesterday. So as far as signals go, I don't have 3 days of longs triggered in, but I did have this triggering of the previous day's low from Friday. Maybe this is turning into a 3-day setup. We've got the triggering of the low. Maybe today turns into a first red, and then we have something for tomorrow. We're going to have to wait and see. Okay, gold. Market's been going up. I know that because they've been breaking out and going higher. Market broke down, started making lower lows and breaking out to the downside. Friday closed in breakout down. The market is only capable of doing 3 things, so I project that level across. And with that, I'm going to look for a trend trade. If there is an opportunity for one, there's also might possibly, be an opportunity for a reversal based off of the 3 days of breakouts in that direction, or 3 days of shorts in the market. So 1, 2, maybe 3. Now today we are in breakout down. We've triggered the previous day's low and made the lower low. We popped back up and broke back down. I think gold might not be a bad one to watch. Really going to be focused on this previous day's low level. Made the lower low. Is it just going to be a retest double bottom of the low of the day and also the previous day's low? Because they've kind of made this little higher high over here, and these breakout traders are still in profit, and we've been going down for 3 days. So we might need to go back for the money. I'll be looking for the short squeeze or the trend continuation of the breakout. Either one would be fine with me. Okay, oil. Paulie, thank you. 15-minute chart. Now, this is one, if you all remember from a few weeks back, we were really consolidated, and I was hooting and hollering for weeks about how I didn't want to trade this until we broke and went higher, because they were just they had this in a box, kind of like this. It looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, this is a long time, right? They had put in peaks high, they had put in peaks low, and they were just consolidating. And then it finally breaks out, right? And then we've got the pullback. Now they're resting on top of where those peaks were before. However, they've immediately gone back into consolidation now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. 6 weeks we've been sitting in this box. Okay, so we had a consolidation and a breakout, and immediately goes back into consolidation. All right, just to kind of give some context of what the market has been doing, because it is relevant. You know, I'm trying to figure out what market condition we're currently in, because if it's in a trading range, I don't really want to take part in it, because you'll get this back and forth. All right. Now, we are at previous day's high. Today is Monday, opening range for the week. We had this low put in place for a possible pivot, higher high, first green day breakout day 1. Breakout day 2 that has gone back down, and possibly today failed to go lower. I don't really have anything that I can do with this. We're just at the high. We're just at the previous. Is this the previous week's high? No, it is. So we just triggered previous week's high on a Monday. Let's check this. I wouldn't mind watching this just to see if it breaks down. But I have a feeling I don't know. We'll see. The only thing that I could really look for would be like a pump for a dump. They've pumped it up off the low of the day, triggered the previous day's or previous week's high, previous day's high. If the high fails, we might see a good move back down. Okay, 1 minute to the open. I'm going to get this pulled up like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, and like that. Okay, there's the open. Get my other screen set up. How's y'all's weekend? Coming into the new week, things are looking all right. End of a month, coming into a new month, might start to see some fairly large moves, or at the beginning of next month. I'll tell you what, though, I am not caffeinated enough just yet. I need to wake up. Okay, US 30 has broke down, made these lower lows. We've broken the low. We're at the low of the current day. We're at closing price. We filled the gap. Notice how they came back up too. 1, 2, 3. Trap some longs. We engulfed over here. 1, 2, 3. And then now maybe we're driving back down. 2 minutes into the open. Still watching, no orders in, no trades executed. Waiting and watching. I'm watching the first 5, see how it plays out. Let the bar close. John, so here's the thing. I mainly focus on daily levels, right? I do look at the previous week's high and low. I like to see, are we in breakout in a direction? And again, that kind of goes into me trying to figure out which market condition that we're currently in. That's really the whole purpose of using the previous week's high and low. Is the market overall in breakout in a direction? Is it trending? Or is it in a consolidated state, either setting up for distribution or is it consolidating for accumulation to go up, distribution obviously to go down? And I don't even worry about that part. Are we in distribution or are we in accumulation? I don't really even think about that either. I just look and see, is it consolidating? That's the big thing. Is it in a trading range? How many weeks of breakouts do we have if it has been breaking out in a direction? Like, those are the big questions that I use the previous week's high and low for. And that is as big or as high of a time frame levels as I really go. I have found for myself that if I use previous week, month, all that, I kind of start getting up into multi-time frame analysis, and it becomes a little bit more confusing, and it's just too much to look at. Whereas if I just use previous days levels, look at the past few days, yeah, of course, look at the previous week as well, but it just keeps it more simple, and it's still just as effective. All of that being said, your original question, do you also prefer end of month, or do you like the beginning of the month? I just go into it with the understanding that is when the market moves a lot of times. Like, there's a lot of decent setups at the end and the beginning of new months. And that is as far as I take it. Hey, it's the end of the month. There's a good potential for a larger move. I just keep it in the back of my mind. It's not a set in stone like rule or a hard fast thing where I'm like, oh, it's the 28th of the month, time to look for a certain type of setup. Not necessarily. I hope that makes sense. I'm still kind of not awake yet, so I'm trying to jumble through my thoughts here. Okay, so we've got a curl here and a strong retest of the low, a breakout of the low. This low, we've also just triggered previous days, was this previous day's low. So this is a really important time. We've broken down, we've broken out. We're going sideways. Is the breakout going to continue? That's the question that we're looking for to be answered. Waiting for that good, solid confirmation that this will continue. Two minutes and 30 seconds left on this bar. on the 5-minute bar. On my other screen, I've got a 1-minute chart up, and I'm staring at it. Oh. 9:38. No news on the calendar. We're 8 minutes after the open, so almost 10 minutes. First 5 minutes has put in a long range or a wide range bar on gold, NASDAQ, as well as US 30. They put it in a very wide high and low. Interesting. Oil's in a 1-bar range. They triggered a previous day's high. Look how many bars they've pulled back on the inside of that bar's high and low. This hasn't done anything. We've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, almost 30 minutes of pullback on the inside of this bar's high and low on a 5-minute chart. It's fairly significant. Patience is definitely going to pay off today. Actually, patience kind of pays off every day, though. Okay, we're coming into a new 5-minute bar. 40 minutes into the hour. 10 minutes after the open. Russell has left the building. Where did it go? Into the floor. Okay. Broke down sideways bar. Maybe a continuation. We're at the close. I think I'm just going to, so I don't get myself jumbled and feeling like a pile of mush, I'm just going to stick with these two. This could be a breakout, fake out bar. I can trade it as a breakout, fake out bar on continuation or breakout of this bar, but not before. I didn't like this because they closed this bar at this bar's low. So if this bar trades for the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds and then fails to go lower and maybe closes back up in this bar's range, I don't want to get caught in the short trap. Now, it is looking good. Don't get me wrong. I think I just want to wait a little bit longer. Also, not much of a pullback for me to really get in on. So it makes me feel like maybe they could, pop this thing back up at any time. Don't want to rush it. And there's plenty of room for it to fall, right? So my first target would need to be probably the close of Thursday down over here. But ultimately, it really should be the low of Friday. If I was going to take that. Okay, I'm watching gold very closely now. Okay, I'm watching for gold. I wanted to see a very clean, fast break of this bar's low, and I want to see them close outside of this bar's low. They should not fail to go lower. We should get a strong push down on a 1 minute chart. I don't like that they have curled it the way that they have and then slammed it back down into the low. I'd like to see a bit of follow through. Immediate follow through. We should see them breaking lower. They're pinning down a little bit, which is not really ideal or the best. Want to see violent follow through. Okay, I've taken partials, and I'm now at break even. I like this. I like this where I'm at as far as like where I've gone to break even at. Remember, whenever I trade a breakout, fake out bar, so a bar like this, where we got an up close bar, and normally I would trade the break of this bar's low, and that's where I would get in. I was able to, with a 1 minute chart, get in a lot earlier than that, and then took off some partials, so that way I get something out of it. Even if it pops back up, they just do some kind of weird wicking. I'll still get something. I also really don't like when they do this, as far as it's come down, it kind of curled, and then it slams right back into the low. A lot of times it'll kind of do something weird where it'll break out of this low, and then it'll be a failed breakout and go back up. So I've got a further target in place right now for the measured move. Basically, we've got leg 1 down. Looking for leg 2 down. I'm trying to get to like 33.17. That's where I'm aiming. Or just about. Okay, dragon stops in the profit. Okay, they're dancing on it. I'm just gonna get out here. 33.18. Right about 33. I was trying to get to 33.17. That was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that was nice. I'm very happy with how I managed that, played that. All right, so let's chit chat about it. I don't know if you noticed, but I immediately kind of got sucked into gold. I fell into gold because we had our analysis at the beginning. I even said, gold looks kind of like the one I should be watching, right? Actually, I don't think I said that. I had just said that gold, I wouldn't mind watching gold. Compared to the indexes, it was looking a lot better as far as an actual trading setup and a reoccurring setup. And then on the day, how it had presented itself. You all have heard me say this over and over again. We're in a down moving market. They triggered previous day's low. That in itself is a trading setup, because the triggering of this low could be the lower low. All right. So when we come back down for a retest of the low, if they just retest it, double bottom, and go back up, hallelujah. But they don't. It breaks through, breaks out, it pulls back in one bar. And I was sitting here talking myself through it like, hey, the market is broken down. It's broken out. It's going back up in one bar. It needs to show signs of continuation. So this bar's open 935. So this is the second bar the New York Open, and there's the little pop up here, 935, little 1, 2, 3 to the high, and it breaks down. John, you were asking about stops. I got in on this bar as we were breaking below this bar. So I'm looking at this pattern, right? And I made the assumption this is push 1, push 2, pause, push 3, bar breaks down and engulfs. So I got in here and I had stops above right here, above P2. And then as it broke lower, I just brought them down. Very nice. I'm happy with that. Very happy with it. All right, let's take a look at other things. What have other things done? Consolidated. 1 bar range, 1 bar trading range. We had 9 o'clocks open here. Oh, this is a 15-minute chart. Help. So there's a few different ways, Mustang. I used a measured move on this one. Okay. So consolidation, leg 1 down, pull back, looking for a nice, a leg 2 down. So all I did here is similar to if you do like this, right? I could have just done this. Like that. Just to make it simple, right? We've got a leg 1 down, looking for leg 2 down. I think I actually goofed. I measured it from the wick, which is why I had that 3317 number. Maybe I didn't. The ways that I take profit, or I look to take profit, or in most cases, in a lot of cases, I'm going to say probably 99% of cases, you all have seen me look and see like where's the measured move at? What's the, where is it supposed to go based off of a measured move? Or looking at levels, previous day's high, previous day's low, high of day, low of day. Like those are my targets. But on expansion targets, I look at what is the most likely place for it to go. And then a lot of times I'll cut it before I even get there because the probability of it getting there is high, but the probability of it making, getting close to it is even higher. So I'll start pulling stuff off before it even gets there, just to make sure, Okay, oil is still on the inside of a 1 bar range. US 30 did break out a little bit. Maybe more now. I don't know. But I'm very glad that I focused in on gold because that was quick and easy. Very quick and very easy. For anybody just joining in, I just got out of this trade on gold. And I actually don't think I really talked about the larger picture in the review. So let me do the review. First red day from last Wednesday. Okay. Remember this morning I had drawn this down over here. I think. Or maybe I did that before the stream. And I should have done it on the stream. But anyways, we had this low from Thursday of 2 weeks ago where they triggered the previous day's low. And then it's popped back up. You get a first red day on Wednesday, triggered the previous day's low, popped back up, rolled over, breakout day 1 on Thursday. So now we're in a market that is going lower. It's breaking out and closing lower. A downtrend. Did the same thing on Friday. So I project that level across and I look at the current day. Coming into today, they triggered previous day's low, which is a lower low, has popped back up and it rolled over coming into New York. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should have left another runner on there. It's okay. It's all right. That thing is, it's skedaddled. It's a good one. All right, coming into the New York Open, notice this little pop-up. This is a break to a lower low, consolidating just above previous day's low. Popped up 1, 2, 3. Evidence of trapping shorts. Breaks down, triggers previous day's low. Breaks down, breaks out. Anytime the market breaks down or breaks out, it will go sideways. So we get the sideways consolidation. And looking for signs of follow-through, 935. Push 1, push 2, sideways, push 3, engulfment. Getting in. I think I had added in below this bar as well. So I got in and then I added in and then I took off. And then I took off the final amount. 33.18. Easy. Easy, simple, repeatable, reproducible. Remember when I was talking about this type of setup? They trigger the low and then you're looking for it to break out outside of it. It does this and then it consolidates above. You're looking for the breakout. It should be jumping in, 20, 25, 50 pip increments to the downside. I don't know if it's jumping quite that much. I think once it started to really let go, things started jumping 25, almost 50 pip increments. This was a good one. A lot of times, though, they'll break when they break the previous day's low, and it really starts to... You can see the acceleration here, but a lot of times it'll break, and when it breaks previous day's low, it won't come back. Just like this doesn't come back, but it'll just start jumping from the low, right? So from the previous day's low, from here, it would start doing exactly what it's doing down over here. Silver fighting round. Let's go. I keep seeing silver. Let me go take a glance. A gander. A stare. So the thing that silver is missing is, it's actually probably the most important detail, in my opinion, is just not, I wouldn't say the most important, but yeah, it's in breakout, looks really good. Okay. What detail is it missing? What aspect or characteristic of this setup makes this worse than gold? The fact that they didn't trigger previous day's low. That triggering of the low is extremely important to me, because that tells me the market has put in a lower low, and the upwards momentum that I'm seeing over here is just a pullback, and that way I know exactly where the volume is trapped. Drive off the low at the beginning of the day, starting the move up. The most obvious candle on the chart, P1. Then we have a consolidated move up, low volume push, if you will. And then an explosive move, P2. Sideways consolidation, explosive P3, fails to go higher and breaks down. Why didn't you leave a runner? Yeah. Just add to it. Add to the fire, Joanne. Make fun of me. In fact, you know what? Go type more laughing faces, please. Just mess around. Yeah, I probably should have. Holy cow. I got out 33.18. It's jumped down 33.04. Okay, we're going to 0. Still a really good day, though. I'm certainly not complaining. But let's just take a moment to appreciate. I mean, this doesn't show up this beautiful very often, but this is just picture perfect, right? Come off the low, 3 days to the high. It doesn't appear this perfect all the time, right? So I can sit here and cherry pick this all day long. But this is a really pretty chart. Breaks down first red day. Breakout day 1. Breakout day 2, beginning the trend and consolidating above where the move began, the anchor point. So basically now we have space for the market to fall, which is exactly what we're seeing now. Whenever you have space for the market to fall, this is exactly how it should behave. It should be in free fall. Basically, behavior from a characteristic. We have a characteristic. Does the behavior match the characteristic? And in this case, it absolutely does. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm going to take another trade or anything like that. I have just taken a fantastic, phenomenal setup with size, over and done with. No news Monday as well. I mean, we have really capitalized on the worst condition that you could have as far as a beginning of the week. It's a no news Monday, and we were capable of finding and executing probably the best chart out of the lot. Yeah, looking good. So I'm just going to be done here. I'm going to come back tomorrow at the same exact time, 9:15 a.m. Eastern time, ready to trade with you all. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Actually, you know what? Before I go, does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to chat about? Questions, comments, concerns? Nothing for me. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a good one. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.